Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Glacial Geek Kill Team Battle Report. I am Phil, the Glacial Geek, coming to you here from Savannah Line Games in Pooler, Georgia, where I'll be playing a 125-point Kill Team Arena mission between my Grey Knights and Neil's Thousand Sons. So the story that we've got going on here is that this facility had a secret vault that within it was being held a tome which would aid in the in summoning demons to a world. And it had been held closely, but it found itself in the throes of an uprising, and both sides a chaotic cult incursion, and the Thousand Sons descended upon it, trying to capture this. So the Grey Knights were sent in to go capture it themselves and keep it out of the hands of chaos to help protect the Imperium from the ravages of the warp. So that's the story that we've got going on here. The mission that we're going to be playing is Hidden Vault. Essentially what happens is there's a vault in the middle here. There are 4 objectives. One under this door, one under this door, one under this door, and one under this door. If you control any objective, you score a point. If you control these 2 objectives, the 2 here closest to the entrance room to the vault, you score an additional 2 points for a maximum of 3 points per turn, and a maximum of 9 points for the primary mission there. In addition, we also have 3 arena objectives that we've selected that are hidden until they start scoring, and you can score a maximum of 3 points for each of those. So that is the story. That is the mission. Before we go any further, though, let's show you the 2 kill teams that are going to be fighting it out. So for the Grey Knights, my kill team will consist of, from left to right here, my leader, who is a Justicar with a Nemesis Force Halberd. I then have a Grey Knight Gunner with a Silencer. I then have a Terminator with a pair of Nemesis Falchions. I then also have he is my Combat Specialist. The other guy over here was my Demolition Specialist. And then I've got a Heavy Specialist, which is a Terminator Gunner with a Silencer. And for the Thousand Sons, his kill team from left to right here is his leader, who's an aspiring champion in Terminator armor there. He's got an Infernus Combi Bolter and a Force Stave. He's the leader. We then have his Demolitions Expert, who is a Scarab Occult Terminator with the Soul Reaper Cannon. He also has a Power Sword, Demolitions Expert. Then we have the Heavy Specialist, who is basically exactly kitted out the same way. We have a Twist Bray Combat Specialist, and we have a Zangor. All right, so those are the kill teams going over deployment here for the Grey Knights. We've got my Combat Specialist and my leader over by this door here, and we've got my Heavy Specialist and my Demolitions Expert over here by this door. Thousand Sons, we've got his, this is the Demolitions Expert back over here. We've got his leader over here. We've got a Heavy Specialist, we've got the Combat Specialist, and the other Zangor back over by this door here. So that is going to be it for deployment. We will now roll off to see who has initiative going into turn 1. I rolled a 9, my opponent rolled a 6, so we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Grey Knights. All right, movement phase for the Grey Knights here. He opened the door, his friend moved in over this way, looking down this way. He opened the door, allowing my leader to come out here and open the door over here so that I can score that objective, because the objectives have the door on top of them, meaning you can't score them if the door is closed, because you can't score objectives through walls or the doors there. So the door has to be open for them to be able to score this over here. So that is going to be it for the movement phase. For the Grey Knights, we'll come back to you with the movement phase for the Thousand Sons. All right, movement phase for the Thousand Sons. This guy opened the door, and these guys came out here. He, at the end of his movement, opened the door over here. This guy opened the door, and this guy opened the door. So that's going to be it for the movement phase. We'll come back to you with the psychic phase. All right, so the only psychic power that I can do is he's going to cast Psybolt to his Combat Specialist over there. He's within, because it's 12 inches for the Grey Knights here, so he is not in range of him, even though he can see him. He's within 18, but not within 12, so he can't do Psybolt. But he is going to cast Psybolt, which will give him, looking for 5 to go off, but they get +1 because they're Grey Knights now in the new, with elites here. So looking for a 4 on the dice. Goes off with a 10, so that is just going to be 1 mortal wound onto him, which will take him down to 0. So let's see if he is out of action. On a 6, he is out. Dang. All right, so starting off the shooting phase, this guy here is going to fire his Silencer into his dude bro there. He's more than 12 inches away, which is more than half range. He's also moved with a heavy weapon, so he's going to be -2 there, and he's obscured. So hitting on a 6, so it's heavy 6. Getting 2 hits, which is pretty good there. Strength 4, toughness 4, so looking for 4s to wound. That is going to be 1 wound. AP nothing, so he's got a 2-up armor save. And he's good. So now his guy over here with the Reaper chain cannon, or Reaper auto cannon, is going to fire into, oh no, Soul Reaper cannon is going to fire into my dude bro over here. He's going to have 4 shots with it, but he's going to spend 1 command point because he's the heavy specialist for more bullets, giving him 5 shots into my guy here. He's within 12 inches, just barely within 12 inches, so it's within half range, but he is obscured, so he's going to be hitting on 4s. Because he's the heavy specialist, he ignores moving with the heavy, so that's going to be 2 hits here. These are going to be strength, what are they, strength what?
Oh, 5.
Strength 5, so these are going to be wounding on 3s. Getting 1 wound. Going to spend a command point to re-roll that. Nope, not meant to be, so that's 1 wound. AP -3, so looking for a 6-up save. Show me that fill first. Yeah, with the fill first. Woo! All right, so now my leader here is going to fire in back at him. So he's within 12 inches, so he's rapid fire, but he is obscured by the wall over there. So I'm going to be hitting on 4s. I did spend 1 CP for Cybolt ammunition, which gives his Stormbolter strength 5, AP -1. But he's got all his dust, so he's going to be +1 to his save. So he's still going to have a 2-up armor save, but strength 5, so wounding on 3s as opposed to 4s. So here we go, hitting on 4s though because of the obscurement. All right, so that's going to be 3 hits. Wounding on 3s. All right, so it did give me an extra one there, which is pretty good. So that's going to be 3 2-up armor saves. Oh, failed 1 of them. All right, so that's the end of the turn. No morale tests need to be taken here, but I do control 1 objective, which gives me 1 point. My opponent does not score hold an objective because I killed that guy off of there. So giving me 1 point, my opponent 0 points for that. I also scored a secondary for high profile targets for killing off his combat specialist there, giving me a point for that. So that is going to be a total of 2 points for me. My opponent has 0 points. Now we will roll to see who has initiative going into turn 2. I get an 11, so we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Grey Knights here on turn 2. All right, movement phase for the Grey Knights here on turn 2. This guy moved up over here onto this objective. He moved up here onto this objective. He advanced up over this way, and he moved over to there, looking down that way. So that's going to be it for the movement phase. We'll come back to you with the movement phase for the Thousand Suns. All right, movement phase for the Thousand Suns. He advanced back over here. This guy advanced around this way over to here. He advanced up over to there to get the line of sight onto my dude bro here, and he readied himself for the shooting phase. So that is going to be it for the movement phase. We will come back to you with the psychic phase. So we're going to start off with my heavy specialist here. He is going to Cybolt into his heavy specialist. So I get +1 to this die roll here. Giving me a 6. My opponent's going to try to deny the witch. Needs a 7. Manages it with a 7. And now his leader is going to Cybolt into me over here. So he needs a 5 to go off. Gets it with an 8. I am going to try to deny the witch. I get +1 to the deny the witch as well because of being a Grey Knight, so I need to have an 8 on the dice. I do not get that. I'm going to spend a CP to re-roll that. 1 second. Yep, so I'm going to re-roll that. So you can tactical re-roll, but it's the deny the witch test. So you have to re-roll both dice. And I deny it with a 10. And now my demolitions expert is going to try to cast it because we can both choose 2, but he's only got 1 psyker, but I've got everybody here as a psyker. So looking for a 5 on this test. That goes off with a 10. So cannot deny it anymore. So he will be now down to 0 here. Let's see if he is out of action. On a 6, he is. All right, so my opponent is going to spend 2 CP on Immovable Automaton. Basically, what it allows is anytime one of the Scarab Occult, the Rubric Marines or Scarab Occult Terminators would be taken out of action, you can roll a D6 on a 4+. He takes a flesh wound instead. So here we go. 2 CP on a 4+. No, with a 3, so he is still out of action. All right, so into the shooting phase. My demolitions expert is going to start us off by shooting into his leader. He's within half range, but he did move, which is -1 because it's heavy, and because he's got a silencer. And then he also is obscured, so it's another -1. So he's going to be 6 shots hitting on 5s. Whoa, real good roll there. So 3 hits. Strength 4, toughness 4, but he's the demolitions expert and he's obscured, so he's going to be wounding on 3s. Getting 2 wounds. AP nothing, so it's going to be 2 2-ups. Makes them both. My leader is now going to fire into him with the Storm Bolter. 4 shots, hitting on 3s. Oh no, 4s because he's obscured. That is going to be 3 hits. Wounding on 4s. That is going to be 3 wounds, 3 2-ups. Failing one of them. And now my combat specialist is going to fire into his leader. He's within 12 inches, but he is obscured, so he's going to be hitting on 4s. I spent 1 CP for Cybolt ammunition, making these strength 5, AP -1. He doesn't have all his dust because he's not dust. He's actually a Dubro. He's the aspiring sorcerer in there. So it's going to be 4 shots, hitting on 4s because he is obscured. All right, so that's going to be 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, though, strength 5, toughness 4. I'm going to spend a CP to reroll this. That is 2 wounds, AP -1, so we got 2 3-up saves. Makes them both. Ooh. All right, so that is the end of turn 2 there. I do control 1 objective here. This one, we're both contested. We're both within 2 inches there, so no one scores that one. So I score 1 point for this. I also got another high value target, or high profile target, by killing his heavy specialist, which leaves us both now at, leaves me at 4 victory points, and my opponent still at 0 victory points. So that is going to be it for turn 2. So now we will roll for initiative going into turn 3. I rolled a 7, my opponent rolled a 9, so we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Thousand Suns. Alrighty, so movement phase for the Thousand Suns here. He walked up here to open up the door. He advanced up over here behind him, and he is going to charge into my leader. So firing Overwatch here with my Storm Bolter, hitting on 6s. Getting no hits there. So his charge distance. I might need to reroll this. We'll see. Here we go. He's in. All right, movement phase for the Grey Knights here on turn 3. This guy moved through the door around the corner over to here. He advanced up over here, and my heavy specialist is now going to charge into his leader over here. So I need a 10-inch charge to get in. Not going to make it with a 7. I'm going to spend a command point to re-roll that. Oh, so close. All right, so at the end of the movement phase, my opponent is going to spend 1 CP on his leader there with Malicious Familiar. Essentially what happens is if his leader is within 1 inch of anybody at the end of the movement phase, he can roll a D6. On a 4+, it does a mortal wound. So here we go. 4+. No. All right, so now into the psychic phase. His leader is going to cast Cybolt into my leader. Got some leader on leader violence. That does go off with a 5. I will try to deny it. I need to roll a 5 because I get +1 to my deny the witch tests. On an 8, which 9, it is denied. All right, so now my leader is going to try to use Cybolt onto his leader. That will go off on a 9, so you have to roll a 10 to deny the witch. Oh, and he does with an 11. And now my heavy specialist over there is going to cast Cybolt. And that does go off with a 7. He is no more deny the witches, so that's going to take him down to 0. Let's see if he is out of action. No, on a 1 he takes a flesh wound. I'm gonna spend a CP to re-roll that. And on a 5, he's out of action. All right, so there's no shooting now because of all of that happened, and there's no fight phase because they are out of action there. So that is going to take us to the morale phase. My opponent now has 3 dead of his 5, so he has to take a leadership test now. What's the highest leadership that you've got going on here? An 8, so he's looking for an 8 or lower. Oof, on a 10, he's going to spend a CP to re-roll that. Oh, into a 10 again. So they are broken. Let's see if he is shaken now. There's 3 guys missing, so 3+. 1 is good to go. And onto the Zangor back there. 3+1 is good to go as well. So they are broken, but they are both fine. They're going to be able to act there. So at the end of the turn, I control both objectives here, which gives me 3 points for this turn. I also got the secondary. This is turn 3, and I got cut off the head secondary. So when the enemy leader is taken out of action, score a victory point equal to 5 minus the number of the current battle round. So I get 2 points for that one. And I also took the bespoke secondary or arena objective for this mission, which is Jam Signal. At the end of the battle round, score 1 victory point if you control the objective marker closest to your opponent's deployment zone, which is this one over here. And a specialist from your kill team other than a shaken model is within 2 inches of that objective, which I've got 2 of them that are there. So that's going to be pretty good. So I got a point for that one as well. So that's going to give me points for there. And my opponent did not score, or did score anything. Oh, he scores 1 point for holding 1 objective there. And so then he's got those. So that is going to be it for the turn here. So we will come back to you after with. Oh no, we have to roll to see who has priority now going into the 4th and final round. Oh, with the double 6s, wow. I take that one.
For like a triumph.
All right, so movement phase for the Grey Knights here on turn 4. My leader moved over here. He readied himself, as did these 2 guys over here. So that's going to be it for the movement phase for the Grey Knights. We'll come back to you after movement phase for the Thousand Sons.
Turn anyways.
All right, so movement phase for the Thousand Sons. He is going to just ready and stay there because basically he wants to stay on the objective to score the point there. And his Zangor here, though, is going to charge into my dude bro over here. So I am going to spend 1 CP for point blank Overwatch here, essentially allowing once he gets around that corner, I can shoot my Overwatch. So here comes his charge roll here, needing a what?
What you figure this one out?
About a 7-inch charge will get him in there. Mm-hmm. So a 7-inch charge will get him in there. On a 5-inch will not get in, but he's going to spend a CP to re-roll that. So he was down to 1. He only gets 1 CP this turn because of killed the leader. So, and on a 7, that will get him in. So when he gets around that corner, I will fire Overwatch with my silencer there. So it's going to be hitting on 6s. And I get none of them. Okay. All right, so into the psychic phase, he is going to cast Psybolt over here. That does go off. So is he out of action? No, takes a flesh wound. And then my leader is also going to Psybolt into him because I can cast twice. So it does go off. Is he out of action? +1. On a 6, he is. All right, so that's going to be it for the turn here, and that is going to be the end of the game because once again, I scored 3 points for holding these 2 objectives. I scored that other point again for having a specialist holding that objective. I didn't finish out high-profile targets there, but I didn't need it. So I scored a total of 6, 7, 8 points for the primary mission here. I scored 2 points for 2 points for high-profile targets. So that's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 2 points, 10, 11, 12 for killing the for his leader, and then I got 2 points for having a specialist holding that there for 14 points to my opponent's 2 points for holding this objective for 2 turns. So a victory for the Grey Knights. They managed to collect the tome in the secret vault and be able to take it back with them back to Terra or wherever else they needed to bring it to keep it safe out of the hands of the chaos forces here. So a brutal game. This one went really quick. This one really snowballed in the Grey Knights' favor here. Had a couple of good rolls there that went pretty well for the Grey Knights that got me an early advantage, which I was then able to put into a victory here for the Grey Knights. So, but still a ton of fun. And again, we played arena here with the elites. We played with a little bit of a higher point value because we wanted to get in some of the bigger, so the Terminators, to see how they operated with arena. But arena still operates with 100 points, but we decided to do more because why not? You're allowed to do whatever you want to. It's your game to play however you want to. So this isn't a tournament. This was just for funsies between friends. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed this. I certainly have. I have been Phil the Glacial Geek as always. My opponent's been Neil, and until next time, have fun.